Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by...
For over 30 years, Vanguard Outdoors has made the gear that turns a regular hunt into another fine day of field. We know that a good shooting stick or a nice pair of binoculars can make or break your day. Our design teams include serious hunters who work hard to bring you the best sporting optics, shooting sticks, tripods, bags, and more. We are Vanguard Outdoors.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We have a special show. We're going to spend the bulk of this week's episode above the bridge talking about our wolf population. We're going to sit down with several different DNR folks on this week's show talking about what they can and cannot do when it comes to managing that species here in the state of Michigan, what they're doing to kind of keep tabs on that population. We're going to also talk to some non-DNR folks about what it's like to live with that wolf population, how it's affecting our deer herd. It's really a hot topic. You won't want to miss this week's show. I think we're also going to have time for a recipe on this week's show as well. So lots of good information. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan Out of Doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by
Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's destination since 1988. Featuring varieties of homemade sausage, jerky, brats, and gourmet entrees. Holiday gift boxes can be assembled in-store or online. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By Showspan, producing consumer shows that include the Ultimate Sports Show in Grand Rapids, over 350 exhibitors, outdoor gear, boats, seminars, Lake Ultimate, and Big Buck Night. The Ultimate Sports Show at the DeVos Place in Grand Rapids.
Mid-Michigan Ponds has been building and maintaining ponds and lakes throughout Michigan for nearly 25 years. We combine biology and heavy equipment to make pondscapes that are sustainable and fishable. More information at midmichiganponds.com.
We have ice forming on the bridge deck and roadway. It is necessary to issue a warning to all motorists currently on the bridge and those preparing to cross. Reduce your speed to a maximum of 20 miles per hour. Stay in the right-hand lane, be alert, and exercise appropriate caution.
One of the more interesting and controversial species in our great state is the wolf. We were excited to be tagging along with the DNR on their tracking survey to see just how all this works and how this information is used to determine the minimum number of wolves in an area.
Yeah, so where we're at here is it's called Floodwood area. It's off of 95, and we're heading down here. This is one of the areas where pack's known to be. I usually have pretty decent luck finding them on this road. And so we'll go down here. There's also a road further south if we don't find them on here. See if we can find some wolves. I think the last survey there was like 4 or 5, if I remember right, on this area. So we'll come down here and see what we can find. Coyotes. If we jump on any tracks, we'll keep following them. We'll follow them to the end of the road or till they disappear. Because sometimes, you know, you'll get a pair of them and you follow them far enough and all of a sudden the rescue group will come together. So we're trying to come up with a number. We'll also check for urination marks. If there's any territorial sign, Usually if there's urination, a bunch of scratching, that's a territorial thing. Well, I also check to see if there's any females in estrus at all. We'll check for that as well. And just basically follow them to see if we can come up how many's actually here. That's the main goal, is how many's here. Got wolf tracks. It's funny, we got a couple things going on here. You can see there's a coyote track here, but there's also wolf tracks as well. So you can see there's a pair of wolves here. There's one on this spot right here, and there's one here. They kind of marked the bank there, and it looks like they keep going down the road here right in these tire tracks. So we'll follow them down this way and see if we can find any more.
It was interesting to hear the history of the wolf in Michigan and how they made it here on their own, and also how this pack here that they were working with was the descendants of the very first pack established in our state.
Now, there's a big misnomer out there that we actually brought wolves back to the state of Michigan, and I think that all stems around one effort that was made actually in 1974. In 1974, a project with the Michigan DNR and Northern Michigan University brought 4 wolves from Minnesota and actually released them just west of here in the Huron Mountain Club in North Marquette County, so not far from where we're standing here today. Those wolves were released. Within 8 months, all 4 of those wolves were killed. 2 were shot, 1 was trapped and shot, and the other one was hit by a garbage truck. They were all radio collared. We know they didn't breed. You know, some people say, well, it was a failure, but really it was kind of the precursor of being able to move a large carnivore. From that point on, we never brought wolves back to the state of Michigan. The wolves that came here immigrated from either Ontario, Wisconsin, or Minnesota through Wisconsin, and then obviously their offspring. And the interesting thing is, the last known place we had wolves was in northern Dickinson County, and that was in the 70s. That was also the first place we found wolves. This would have been in 1988 when they were first documented. And then we actually had 1989, we documented reproduction from that same pack. That pack is the Nordic pack, so kind of interesting, and that pack still exists today, so it'd be our oldest pack.
We had the 2 wolves running down the road. It was 2.2 miles we followed them. They jumped off right there, and I'm gonna get out and check. I think they just popped back down right here, I think. Sometimes that happens a lot, where they'll hit an intersection, they'll pop off, go into the ways, and they'll come back on. Something caught their eye, they smell something. That happens a lot, where they pop off and pop back on. Sometimes when they pop back on, sometimes another wolf come in and join them. So I'm gonna check here and see what happened here.
So what people need to understand is we count wolves when they're at their lowest point in their population during midwinter. Obviously, that's when we have the tracking snow. It is a tracking survey. It's intensive and it's extensive, so it's very, very labor intensive. And then extensive, we're covering 60% of the UP in any given survey period. Now we augment that with our GPS collars, once in a while the plane, but we don't even use the plane as much as we used to, because now we have these satellite collars that really help a lot and help us separate those packs. And that's the tough part. Sure, you can find 5 here and you can find 5, 10 miles away. Are they a different pack? That's where that whole justification, and takes multiple times and a lot of local knowledge of what's going on with those wolves. So what folks don't understand then, like I said, that's the lowest point, and that's why we always present it as the minimum winter population. It's the lowest number that I can prove. If I have to go to court, I can prove, so last year, or last survey was 2022, 631 wolves, plus or minus 49. I have the paperwork and data that I can support, and I can prove that. We've vetted this method using Michigan Tech. Now, is it an exact count? No, it's not an exact count, but we're not missing thousands of wolves like people are claiming. Now, come summer, like I said, wolves are at their lowest point in midwinter, then pups are born, Sure, it could jump up to 1,200 animals. That's for totally in the realm. Now, pup survival, unfortunately for wolf pups, it's very low. 50%, sometimes even higher, are not even going to make their first winter. And then you got adult mortality. As general rule, you can figure about 25% of your adults are dying, and that even may be higher now. When we actually look at the mortality of our collared animals, 66% of our collared animals are dying from human causes.
So we looking at a wolf track here. The average wolf size is probably 4 3/4 lengthwise and 4 inches wide. We'll take a measurement here. It's basically pretty close to that. And we'll take the other measurement this way. Same thing, it's pretty much your 4 3/4 by 4. Now a large track would be 5 inches, anything 5 inches or a little bit larger. That's a really large wolf track. Sometimes your real big males will have a big wolf track that's 5 inches long. You will get some smaller ones, especially a pup from this year. Its track might be only 4 1/4 or 4 inches long, 3 1/2 wide. But your typical average wolf size is 4 3/4 by 4.
In addition to the track survey, one of the newer ways the DNR is using to gain information on the wolf numbers is a new trail camera study that is being implemented across most of the entire Upper Peninsula.
So the Wolf Abundance Project is a research project that we've started with in partnership with Michigan State University. And this project originally began in 2022 with a pilot. So we started with about 200 cameras in the central UP. We wanted to make sure that it was going to be an effective method to estimate wolf abundance. And so to start that pilot out, we had about 40 grid cells that were about 100 square kilometers in size, which is about the size of a seasonal wolf home range. And we put 5 cameras out in each of those grid cells in order to detect wolves across that study area. Once we recognized that it was going to be a good method to estimate wolves, we had really good wolf detection rates, we decided to scale that project up. And so now in 2023, we deployed about 1,230 trail cameras across the UP. And so we have really good coverage on all public lands. We're still working on filling in a few gaps where there's some private inholdings where it's hard to get cameras out. But here we increased the grid cell size up to about 80 square miles, which is about the size of an annual wolf home range. And then we put 8 cameras in each of those grid cells. And so that really gives us good confidence that we're detecting wolves in their home range or in that grid cell if they're present.
One key thing to remember is that currently the wolf is listed as a federally endangered species, and because of that, there is almost nothing the state can do in management of our wolf population. So delisting is key on the federal level if we hope to see some steps taken in management statewide.
There has been 6 efforts to either downlist or delist wolves. Unfortunately, each and every time there's been litigation and they've been put back onto the list. So the latest time was in 2022, and they've been now back on the list since then. So wolves are treated differently across the United States. So wolves can have a state listing and they can have a federal listing. We actually delisted wolves, I believe, can't remember the exact year, but I believe it was 2005. We delisted wolves in the state of Michigan. We had a little bit higher requirement to get that done, but that's been over and done. So wolves in the Great Lakes states, so that would be in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. In Michigan and Wisconsin, they are listed as an endangered species, and in Minnesota, they're listed as a threatened species. Now, the wolves out west are treated differently in the Rocky Mountains because they're an experimental population. So they were deemed, those wolves were actually brought back to the western, or to Yellowstone in that area. So they are treated a little bit different. And so they are not under the same subject of the federal designation by the federal government, by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. That's why wolves, we don't hunt them in Michigan. Now, in Michigan, we did have one season in 2013. And then if you're from Michigan, you might have remembered that there was voter referendums to actually remove them from the game species list. Those kind of made their way through the system. There was a vote and we did lose, but then there was another bill. It's been this on again, off again saga between listing whether they're a game species or not. Basically with wolves, I mean, I've been a professional wildlife biologist for 25 years. And with wolves, I've never seen anything so controversial. And it really doesn't even, you know, there's no other species that really compares that we're being watched and scrutinized by both sides, whether you're a pro or con wolf. Each side has their own thoughts.
Again, it's important to go over how this works in Michigan. If the wolf is delisted, the DNR could make a recommendation to the Natural Resources Commission here in Michigan. They would have the power here in the state to implement a season, and we did ask if that is the plan if and when the wolf is delisted.
A lot of people ask me, should we hunt wolves? I can't answer that question. I can tell you scientifically about it, you know, and I can say, could we have a biologically sustainable harvest of wolves in Michigan? Sure, yeah, we could. But I can't tell you should or not hunt wolves. That's not my job. My job is to stick with the biology. What folks have to understand, under Proposal G, the NRC, or the Natural Resources Commission, they dictate method and manner of take of all game species. So wolves are listed as a game species in Michigan. So the DNR itself cannot make that decision to have a season. That would have to come from a recommendation from the Natural Resources Commission. We're stuck under that Endangered Species Act right now. If and when they ever come off that list and the NRC gives us that charge, we would certainly entertain a season.
Yeah, there's definitely hunters that think wolves are the main problem with deer numbers. You know, they see them on their game cameras, they see them when they're out and about. They show that, you know, they got bait out and they had deer, and then all of a sudden now there's hardly any deer. Deer hunters definitely think that the wolves is a problem. I'm out all the time seeing them. I hunt myself. There's no doubt wolves contribute to the problem, but I don't think they're the solely problem of deer numbers.
With the lower than normal deer numbers in the Upper Peninsula over the last several years, many deer hunters are looking for why that might be. Winters, of course, play a role, as does habitat, but the growing wolf population has many hunters pointing a finger at the wolf as the main reason for the lack of deer.
I've been hunting the UP roughly for 55 years, okay? A bunch of us guys got out of the service, we needed a place to hunt, and I ended up right here. The deer hunting up here has always been up and down, and but the last few years it's been on a steady decline. And most sportsmen and trappers are getting a little bit nervous, typically, the deer, like I mentioned to you before, Jordan, the deer is a precious resource of the people in the Upper Peninsula, and right now we're at basically record lows, and we're in complete disagreement with the DNR as far as the main reason for the lower deer numbers. I mean, habitat and winter kill is part of it. Okay, we're not denying it, but right now, most organizations, hunters and trappers across the UP, point the finger right at the wolf, okay?
We all know there are many reasons for the deer numbers in any part of the state to go up and down, but as trail cams in the UP fill with wolf pictures and deer numbers continue to go down, it's not hard to blame our UP hunters who are simply frustrated with little they can do.
One of the things that we've been seeing is, you know, trail cameras are real big right now. I've been using trail cameras up here for roughly 12 years. And 10, 12 years ago, I'd get a picture of a wolf, 2 pictures of wolves, and I'd go, oh, it's a wolf, that's cool. We got wolves up here. Little did I know, okay? Last season, deer season, my cameras are set to find deer, not wolves. I got 65 pictures of wolves last year. That's just unbelievable. Every place I put a camera, I'd get a picture of a wolf in a period of time, not every night. Say within a week's time, okay? But there's not near the deer that there used to be. The average deer harvest 10 years ago 15 years ago, 50, 60,000, okay? The harvest last year was 18,000. Those numbers are substantial. And, you know, there's other issues. Like I said, you know, the DNR said the hunter's numbers. There's no arguing that the hunter numbers are dropping, but not as much as the DNR tells us. Personally, a lot of people up here, I'm a diehard hunter, okay? And I'm not gonna stop hunting, okay, just because there's no deer. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna go someplace else. So a lot of the hunters that did hunt the UP are simply going to Canada, Ohio, Kansas, and that's what's happening.
The wolf issue is a tough one. Frustrated hunters want something done. Frustrated DNR biologists want some federal help so that we can manage our own critters in our own state. Let's hope some management can take place soon, and a balance of hunter and deer and wolf can be found right here in Michigan's Out of Doors. Okay, we are here once again with Jim Wood, chef extraordinaire, Wood Shop Social. Now, if you saw the last recipe that we did, we showed you how to make chorizo with venison burger, and we are here once again to do kind of continue with that Mexican theme. Jim, what are we doing here today?
We're doing what's known as chilaquiles.
And that is what?
It's kind of like a Southwest breakfast dish that incorporates fried tortillas.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to explain, so I'm just going to show you how to do it.
Well, let's do that. And it's hard to beat good Mexican food, and that last dish that you made was phenomenal, so I'm hoping this is going to be up to par as well. So how do we get started?
So we've got some tomatillos. You can use canned. You can use you can roast your own.
Okay.
We've got some fresh garlic.
All right.
We've got a boatload of cilantro.
A boatload.
Yep. Some freshly squeezed lime juice.
Okay. And this is a dish that goes over tortillas, is that?
We're actually going to saute, if you will, the tortillas in this.
Wow.
So you can use either green sauce, you can use verde, which we're going to use verde here.
Okay.
And then we're going to add, this is chipotle. So it's just going to give it a little bit of smoky flavor and a little bit of jam in terms of heat.
Okay.
And we're just going to blend this.
Nice.
So that's done.
Okay.
This is the pico that we make here in house. So we've got fresh tomatoes, diced red onion, diced jalapeno, cilantro, and then we've got some avocado that we fold in, a little bit of salt,
Fresh lime juice.
just a little bit of fresh lime juice. So our pico's done. So now we're just going to cook off our chorizo. All right, so now that we've got that, so you want to work quick here, all right? So you want just a little bit of that grease. And you're going to add your tortillas right to it. And you're going to take
So that is to soften them up?
It's going to soften them up a little bit. It's going to reduce that sauce down, so you're removing a lot of the water, so it's going to make the flavors a little more intense.
Okay.
Okay, so now you got that. So now we work quick. Okay, so that goes in there. We'll add our chorizo right to our chilaquiles.
Wow. See, now I'd probably just stop right there. Just eat that.
Well, it only gets better.
Okay. I trust you.
So this is some lime crema. The recipe will be on the line for this. Just gonna put a little bit of that on there. Once we get our pan kind of hot, add our 2 eggs. We're gonna add some of this queso fresco right to the dish. Okay, so now we'll slide the egg over that.
Wow. Sheesh.
And that's your dish. Venison chorizo chilaquiles.
Wow. Well, hey everybody, thank you so much for watching Michigan Out of Doors this week. If you missed part of this week's show or last week's show, or if you want to see something again, you can always check us out online. You can do that through our website, our different social media platforms, as well as YouTube. And if you want to see some big deer and some big stories, you're going to want to tune in over the next couple of weeks. You're going to see Big Buck Night East and then Big Buck Night West. And thanks to everyone that was a part of those shows. That was a lot of fun. And if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by.
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
By Alta Equipment Company, providing sales, rentals, service, and parts because uptime matters. From earth moving to landscaping and light construction, Alta offers over 50 brands across 7 Michigan locations to serve you. More information online or 844-GO-2-ALTA. By SCI. SCI helps protect, promote, and preserve wildlife through conservation practices, which include hunting. SCI supports and funds conservation programs in the state of Michigan. Learn more how you can get involved at a chapter near you.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love